How will Gordon Brown be different in the months to come as Prime Minister as the months we've just seen when you made some of those mistakes?
Well, I think what happened last summer when I started with terrorism, with foot and mouth, we had avian flu, we had credit crunch. These are all big problems. I think I wanted to explain to people what I'm trying to do, where we're trying to get to. And of course, the first thing we've got to do is to take people through this economic downturn and do it fairly. And then we've got to show people how Britain can be the great success story of the future, which is what I was saying yesterday. So mistakes, yes, the 10p tax rate, I've been quite open about that. But at the same time, I think people want to know where you're trying to take the country, and particularly what we can do to help people through this downturn.
You said it was no time for a novice, which everybody took to mean David Miliband as well as David Cameron.
It was about the Tories. I mean, I was saying you can't trust the Tories on the economy. And I was going through the things that they'd said in the last few days and making it absolutely clear that at some point there's going to be a choice, and the choice is between Labour and Conservatives.
But the choice this conference has been debating is about you or somebody else as leader. Would David Miliband be a good leader of the Labour Party, a good Prime Minister?
David Miliband, and there are many, many younger people in our party who've got enormous talent. There are far more talented frontbench than the Conservative Party. But the issue at our conference is how we, the Labour Party, respond to not concerns about our jobs, but how we respond to concerns about people's jobs and livelihoods and housing in the country. And my focus at this conference and my undivided attention is not on ups and downs and ins and outs of politics. It may interest the political commentators of me, but my interest is what's happening to the economy, what's happening to living standards, how we can take people through with help with heating bills, with help with housing, with help with jobs.
Well, you've presented yourself as the man to do that, the man to get us through this economic mess. What do you say to viewers who watch and say, this is the man in charge when the mess happened? It happened on his watch, first as Chancellor and then as Prime Minister.
I think even the most critical commentator would acknowledge that over the last 10 years, we've had the more stable economy. We've created 3 million jobs, rising living standards, and we've had low inflation and low interest rates.
But then it's crashed. You said no boom and bust. Is it a phrase you regret?
I'm sorry, I don't regret phrases that I've used in this context, because what I'm explaining to people is that we have created stability. Look, in the last world downturn, they had 15% interest rates. They went up to 18% at one point. We have managed, through our management of the economy, even although we're going through difficult times, to keep interest rates low at 5%. We've managed to borrow more because we've got low debt in our economy to help people through these difficult times. I think everybody acknowledges that the problems come out of America and they come out of high oil prices. We are dealing with world problems in a new global economy. It's a different world from 1997, and we are dealing with them in the fairest way we can.
I'm puzzled. Why don't you regret saying no boom and bust? There has been a credit boom for 10 years. There is now a credit bust, and people are suffering.
I was talking about 15% interest rates that the Tories had. I was talking about 10% inflation that they had. I was talking about 3 million people unemployed. These were the things that were bust in the Tory years. Now,
but isn't it fair for people, forgive me, I'll give it a chance, but isn't it fair for people to say to you, they did warn about the borrowing boom. They did warn there was too much credit in the system. This happened in Britain, not in America, not the oil prices. It happened here.
I think, Nick, you're misunderstanding, and I don't want to have to give a sort of long lecture about this, what's actually happened to the economy. What's happened to the economy is out of problems in the United States of America, where people have been mismanaging financial assets, not disclosing things that have been going on. We have a withdrawal of money from the system, and it's affecting every country as a result of. That's what you mean by a credit crunch. This is not something to do with credit cards in Britain, and it's not something to do directly with what's been happening to the British economy.
No, but London's one of the major financial centres of the world, and you were in charge of it as Chancellor.
But that's a completely different point. London is rightly so one of the major financial centres of the world, and will remain so. And as I said yesterday in my speech, making the changes that will happen, we will ensure that it does remain so. But the rules-based system of financial management in the States is different from the principle-based system that we use in Britain. And I think, if I may say so, it's the rules-based system in the States that is found to be wanting. And yes, we've got to make changes, as I said yesterday, because we've got to recognise there's new, very complex financial instruments at work. But the success of London in the last 10 years is because we've had economic stability, and we've had a new system of regulation through the Financial Services Authority, which is recognised the world over as a better system than we had previously. And I just caution you against this view that people are trying to put around. when you've got negative growth in Germany and in France and in Spain and a recession in Ireland and you've had negative growth in the States, somehow to say that this is a British problem. Britain has actually done better than other countries because we have been pursuing what I believe are the right policies. But I know it's uncomfortable for people at the moment, and I want to help people fairly through this downturn.